We'll do it live.
I'm Furiosa!
The darkest of angels. The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Cinematic Lounge. Tonight we have a special guest who's waiting in the green room, Chris Coker, where he's here to talk about a little Mad Max Fury Road and a lot of Furiosa. But before we do that, Maria, of course, has a drink for us.
Yeah.
Maria, what is the drink?
It's called Milk Punch. And you had said there's mother's milk.
Slight mother's milk in certainly Mad Max Fury Road.
So I went on a search and I found a milk-based cocktail.
You did?
Yes, I did. And so this is it. And it's got brandy and bourbon and milk and vanilla and some simple syrup. All shaken up and nutmeg on top.
Chris is actually going to try that.
Yeah,
I will not.
Yeah. It's hard. Milk cocktails are tough.
Yeah, and they might curdle under the lights
Yeah.
too. Which is fun. All right, well, again, what's the name of this one?
This is called Milk Punch.
Milk Punch. And you have not seen Furiosa, right?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, that's not on the list either.
I know. And it's okay.
So, all right, let's switch it out. Chris
Ready?
will come out of the green room.
Come on over, Chris.
Green. Hey, there he is.
Hey, Ralph. How's it going?
How was the green room?
The green room is better and better. Your new gopher in the green room is pretty good. He's a little demanding.
Yeah, that dog is very demanding. You don't have to drink that if
I'm
you don't
gonna
want.
try it
Okay.
at least,
That's
man.
I forget what she called it, but
It's mother's milk
something.
or something.
Yeah. I'm such a chicken.
It's actually pretty
Not
good.
bad, huh?
It's actually really good.
Really. All right.
My only thing is I had a bad experience with milk-based alcoholic drinks once.
You might want to stay away from that then.
Yeah, so I haven't really gone back to them ever since.
Yeah, I wouldn't even touch it. Like eggnog, things like that, I can't even. Ugh.
Eggnog,
I'm a wimp when it comes to alcohol anyway. Sure. Once in a while, I'll try some new stuff, but for the most part, it's Miller Lights and Mick Ultras. There's
nothing
hearty
wrong with
alcohol.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we're here to talk about two films, right?
Mostly Furiosa.
Mostly Furiosa. We can start with a little bit of Mad Max Fury Road. I think everything that needs to be said about that film has been said. For the most part, I mean, it's a great film.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's really, it's very hard about it's funny to me that when it comes to Mad Max Fury Road, it seems like the only thing that people are talking. I shouldn't say the only thing that people are talking. Everybody pretty much agrees it's great. It's amazing. It's amazing how they made it and how
many
pulled it
years
off.
later he made it.
Exactly.
Same director made it.
All of that stuff
From the original
right?
Mad Max series.
Yeah. George Miller and all of that. But it seems like the only thing now people keep talking about is whether or not the character in the movie, Max, is the feral kid. Like, I've seen so many things about that. And, George Miller said, no, it's not him. So I think that's kind of the final.
Well, you even said in the film his last name is his last name, right?
Right. It says it's the only time since the first Mad Max movie they've used Rockatansky.
Okay.
Which is his last name.
Yeah.
So it's like parts have been recast hundreds of times.
I know.
In
Listen,
I
listen to
come on, guys.
I listen to Tarantino talk about this film.
Oh, really?
And of course, he gets a 35 millimeter print. Of course, he
yes.
watches it at home. He didn't want to watch it at first because he was upset.
Oh, that's right.
That Mel Gibson wasn't in it, and thought Mel Gibson, as old as he was, could have played it
as like an older Max,
right? Because
like
he's
an
been in
ancient
it,
Max,
right? He's been in it. Now I don't know what the timeline is.
Yeah, well,
Fury Road takes place, and
nobody
and
does,
Furiosa
really.
either. I can't. There is no. And he was saying that, but then he watched it 3 times and realized this is just an unbelievable
just a masterpiece.
Film. It's a masterpiece.
It's great. It is truthful.
So I mean, I kind of don't want to get into that one because, like I said, everybody.
There's a million. I mean, it's tough. We're gonna have to get into it a little bit.
Well, I think comparing and contrasting, maybe. I mean,
mostly because
my feeling
me,
was it's the same film, but
for me, mostly my issues are going to be more like Mad Max Fury Road and its superior quality. Just it's superior. And when I say superior, I mean superior to all movies. Like,
Well, Mike,
as a general rule, it's superior to so many movies, right? And it's high quality of everything. It's hard for me when I'm watching it. Its story and its quality, you know?
Yeah.
It directly affects my thoughts on Furiosa, in the sense that, like, Furiosa is it didn't have the same impact for me as Mad Max Fury Road. And part of that is because Fury Road and Furiosa together and as a tandem are so very visually different than the other three Mad Max movies, in my opinion. They do a very different thing.
From the three originals.
Right, from the three originals.
No, but together...
Oh, together
they're the same.
They're
They
two
could have
peas
been
in a
shot
pod.
at the same time. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. As a matter of fact, it's almost the same movie.
Yeah. And
It's just chase.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways, it's like part of me is like, did I really need a Furiosa prequel?
I was just going to ask you that question.
Because,
did we need Did we need this movie?
No, because the parts of Fury Road that have a story, they're Furiosa's story. We know what happened. Sure, we don't know every single little thing. We don't know every single little piece. But it was like they told that portion of the story pretty well. In that movie, it reminds me of a movie that's far worse than either of these two films. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Okay,
Which, let me just put it this was a movie that came out in this weird kind of transitional period, like between the first three sets of X-Men movies, and they weren't sure what to do with it. So they just say, hey, we'll do X-Men Origins and we'll just focus it all on Wolverine. But it's like the second X-Men movie, which I still think is probably the best X-Men movie there is, was essentially about his origin. So it's like, gee, haven't we already covered this ground before?
I mean,
same characters, same everything.
Is that the one you're talking about? The one with Deadpool, the first Deadpool,
the first time he
iteration
shows up as Deadpool, and it's like, and it's just one of those ones where you're like, what is?
Okay, so
And it just felt like it was a
have
rehash.
you seen Deadpool and Wolverine?
I
Yet?
did. I saw that, and you know, it's fun. I'm in the minority here. I've never been a huge fan of Deadpool. Oh. He's never knocked me out, even in the comic books when I was reading. When he would show up in comic books, I was kind of like, eh. And the first movie, I never even saw the second one. I enjoyed the first one fine, you know, but at the same time, it's like, I've read plenty of comic book send-ups. I've read plenty of comic book deconstructions. I've read them. Yeah. And so when I watch it, especially, and I'll be honest with you, have you seen it yet?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I really, really, really liked Logan.
Yeah.
Like the one
where they desecrated that movie.
And and it's like, oh, and I get it. He's making a joke about it and all of that. But there was a little part of me that was like, I really liked that movie. Yeah. I liked the way it ended. I thought it put a really nice cap on the whole thing. And I was like, but I will say this, not to get off on a different movie here, but when he pulled the mask on for the first time, it dawned on me, and I never thought about it, but I was like, this guy's made like 10 movies as Wolverine. He's never covered his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there were fun parts about it. There were fun stuff. Like, I love seeing Wesley Snipes back as Blade.
I mean, all that. But, you know, again, okay, I saw this at a drive-in double feature with this and Romulus. Okay.
I haven't seen Romulus, so no.
And both movies are basically fan fiction, fan appreciation, whatever. No spoiler alerts, but Romulus, in the moment, I was like, love the movie.
Right.
But as I start thinking about it,
on reflection,
you go, holy crap, that is the karaoke version of Alien.
Oh, wow.
I've heard somebody say this, cover band version.
Nice.
And, you know, it's almost there. So take a look. We can talk about that maybe, because I have a lot of thoughts, because I'm a huge Aliens fan.
Me too.
And some of the things they did in this one were interesting. There's one particular thing that I can't wait for you to see it, because I want your opinion about what they did, and we can talk about it. But anyway, back to Furiosa.
Yeah.
So let me just give you my quick.
Yeah.
As I first started watching it, I was just impressed with George Miller's vision. It's again, here I go. This is a guy, and I saw it streaming home, so I didn't have the full impact of being in a movie theater.
Yeah, me neither.
But I don't know how soon after he shot Mad Max Fury Road, or was he doing it at the same time? But my feeling was, wow, this guy is a visionary, and he's doing it again. And then I started going, he's doing it again.
Yeah,
and he's doing it again. Why do I need to see this again? Then he introduces that character,
Praetorian Jack,
that guy who's just a stand-in for Mad Max.
Yeah.
Road Warrior, right? That's all that was. Except that there's a chase scene they do where there's things flying, the helicopter thingies and the balloon thingies, which he didn't use in the first one. You know, we saw all this, the whipping, whatever those things were, the bombing. They also didn't get into, I mean, we saw, what do you call what are the boys called? The
War Boys.
The War Boys. They were back in this one.
Yep.
No explanation. Again, we're right in. We're in that place. We're back in the Morton Joe's. What's the Citadel?
The Citadel.
No explanation, except it's now earlier because Furiosa was 4 years old or something when she got kidnapped by.
A little older than that.
What's got Dr. Demento? What was his name?
Yeah, Dementius. Dementor. Something.
But by the end of it, so I was going like this in the movie. I was like, oh, this guy's an amazing. Oh, why am I seeing this again and again?
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of chase scenes that I was like, okay, this is why he does what he does.
Yeah.
And Anna Taylor-Joy
Terrific.
was pretty good.
I
playing
really
this
like
action
her.
star thing that she was doing.
Yeah.
And I kind of fell in love with it again. And I was like, okay, now I'm back in. And once I was in, you know, now I'm fully in.
Sure.
Except I really don't think you needed it.
Well, that
I would like to have seen more of the land that she came from. I would have liked to seen a lush version so I know exactly what they were fighting for.
Sure.
We didn't see that either. We just got to, you know.
We got that glimpse and it almost seemed very, not futuristic, but it was like solar panels and steel construction. And obviously wherever they were still kind of cobbling things together. I mean, at one point, the guy is riding a bicycle so they can sharpen their machetes or whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just one of those. You do like my big thing was like kind of like we've already got the story. You know, we had the.
You know she's going to live.
6 or 7.
So that's again like these prequels. You know that she's.
Yeah, you know she's going to.
Jack, the guy Jack, is the one that's going to go.
Yeah, you know that's going to happen. Yeah. And the other thing about him was
spoilers, by the way. I mean,
sorry,
at this
guys.
point, it's going to happen.
The other thing about it was that with Praetorian Jack was I actually went back and I rewatched most of the movie again. Right, I didn't watch every single part of it again, but I went back and I was watching that one scene where they've caught up to them. Right. And the two of them, they're kind of leaning on it, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Did I fall asleep? Did I drop lid? And did they get together at some point and I just missed it?
No.
And but when they're like caught and they're kind of leaning on each other and he's leaning into her and she's leaning into him, you get a very romantic vibe.
No, I got the vibe that was her, because that was the beginning of the movie. That's how they all greeted each other in the.
Oh, yeah.
That's all that was. That was appreciated. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, I didn't catch any. I felt like that would have been creepy if that had happened.
Right. Yeah.
Because I like the way, I did like their dynamic.
Yeah, me
I like
too.
the way he took her in and said, "I'm going to train you.
Basically, I
see your skills."
Right.
It's pretty cool. Now she got away. I mean, again, she's a small, thin actress.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that she was pulling off, it's like, okay, she would have been gone in a half. I mean, there was okay.
But at the same time, like I did like the whole, where she just pretends to be mute for like years on end, which is kind of cool.
No, she was an interesting. I mean, I guess that was his whole point. She was an interesting character to explore.
Yes,
and then how she interacts with all the characters that he created, and Morton Joe and the Jack guy, and all the other, a lot of those people, there were callbacks to people from Fury Road. The surgeon guy, that organic surgeon dude.
Right, yeah. And then
the dude with the nose.
Yeah. And he later becomes the Bullet Farm guy. Right. Or not the Bullet Farm guy, but Gas Farm.
Right.
In Bullet Town, or maybe it's Gas Town
one
or Bullet Farm,
of the other,
whatever.
So
they obviously expand that kind of 3 city or 3 worlds a lot more. Because, it's hinted at in Fury Road,
right?
And these guys show up, but we don't see any of their areas. We just know that they're kind of a a group that relies on one another. You know, this guy has the water and some milk and some vegetables, and then this guy has the bullets, and then this guy has the gas, and they can work together. Guzzling, yeah. And so they can work together. But I think the thing about Furiosa was, if I'd never seen Fury Road, I think I might have gone out of my mind with how much I liked it.
Well, again, that's what I mean. If this had come out before Fury Road, it would have. I think it's the same movie.
Your mind would have been blown,
right?
Know?
It's because he's doing all the same things he did in. Creative things, creatively, stunts, the whole deal.
And like you said, that sequence with the guys who are flying with the fans on their backs.
He amped it up there. That's what I said. I go, here I go. I'm going to see this. And then that started happening. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
At least he's trying something a little bit different.
Exactly. And it really was
And I
amazing.
appreciated that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But again, if Fury Road hadn't come out, this one would have had the same impact that one had. Except you needed Max.
Oh, yeah.
You had to have Max in there. So I don't know how he would have. Max was in this one.
Briefly.
That little scene where he's just looking at her from above the cliff or something. I don't know if he's the one that rescued her and brought her back into the Citadel, or he just saw her. I don't know. There's that scene where he's up with his car.
Yeah, there's the scene where he's up with the V8.
Yeah,
and it's so funny too, because essentially the car is the thing that keeps everything from making sense a little bit in this movie. Like, that's the V8 he took into the wasteland.
Right.
And it gets completely 100%. You cannot rebuild it. Destroyed in the
Road
Fury
War.
Road. In the Road War.
Right.
But then they rebuild it in Fury Road because he's actually like, that's my vehicle. That's like the longest line Tom Hardy has in that movie. When a guy keeps blowing like gasoline straight into the intake.
Right.
So it was obviously well enough that they could rebuild it, whatever. But the point is that it shows up again. And I was like, and I actually really like that part, because in my mind, I start going, well, wait a minute, what the fuck is he like? Does he know where this area is? I guess my point is that when you look at it, so Furiosa starts, she's like, let's say she's 9, right?
Right.
She's young, but 9. And then by the end of Furiosa, she's probably what? 17 or 18, 20 maybe?
Well, at the end, she is...
Well, by the end, it's the very beginning. Yeah,
it's the start of the Fury Road.
But I guess if you look at, I guess my point is, how much time goes between Furiosa? It's got to be like 20 years, right?
What she ages in the movie? Yeah, okay.
Charlize Theron as Furiosa has got to be at least 30,
right?
If not 35. So we're talking about. So at some point, I guess my point is that at some point Max was like driving around there, like 10 years before.
You can't do that.
I know, that's what I mean. So like my head starts
out of whack.
That's what I mean. That's kind of why I like that the fact that they threw that in there. Because at first I go, oh, wait a minute, does that mean he's just? And then I'm like, don't even try to.
But he already
sense.
set up. What did he set up differently outside of Max and Furiosa, like the War Boys and Morton Joe? I think both of these movies, they don't really explain anything. It just happens. It just happens. And we all assume and you hear about the guy in the bullet farm, you hear about the gasoline and all that in Mad Max Fury Road.
Right.
Here we actually go to those places. We didn't do that. And maybe that's maybe that's the point.
Yeah, maybe he wanted
to
give you
some context.
Expand
but then he
it
adds
more.
Chris Hemsworth in this thing, who's now a tree. He's a tree.
Oh, yeah,
he's
yeah.
a tree.
That's pretty rough.
Where the ladies are or something. I don't quite get. So he introduces this new guy who's the one who did he kidnap her, or he killed her mother?
Yeah, he kills the mother, and one of his dudes kidnaps her. They find the green place, and they're trying to bring her back as proof of the green place. And then I guess her mother goes after them, kills most of them or all of them, and eventually she gets caught and killed as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those movies where it's hard to say, because it's like for me individually, every piece of it works, right?
Yeah.
Every piece of it's great, it works, but because Fury Road's existence, it just doesn't have quite the same impact.
Well, obviously that's how I felt as I was watching it. I go, what's the point? I've seen it already.
Yeah, I kind of know the story.
okay, they're adding more information about her.
Yeah.
But again, it's just action information. There's no. It's motivation.
Yeah.
Because we see why they were going to give her to a Morton Joe as a bride.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so you had that whole creepy thing. It informs her motivation about saving the other women in Mad Max Fury Road. But you had that anyway in the other one.
Yeah,
you already had that with Charlize Theron.
Yeah, you understood her motivation.
You understood.
Yeah.
I didn't need. I guess it showed where the arm got taken off.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the only thing in the movie. I kept going. Okay, when's the arm coming off?
Yeah,
That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I think it would have been awesome if they didn't show you.
Well, no,
Like if she
maybe
had, like
that would have been frustrating.
Like if she goes back there and then it just cuts to her.
Right.
Actually, Charlize Theron going to escape them, and you're like, well, wait a minute, what happened to her arm? When did that happen?
It's like, do you ever see Hot Tub Time Machine?
Oh yeah.
That whole thing about when's the arm going to go?
Oh yeah.
When we're going to lose the arm, oh, this is it. The chainsaw goes up, and it's not.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. They're like, okay, they got to.
Yeah.
I got to know when the arms. If I didn't have that, I would have been really upset.
Yeah. It's
As crazy as that sounds, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
you're waiting for that because you're right because she doesn't die, and Praetorian Jack ain't gonna make it,
Right.
And we know that
Dementis.
isn't gonna make it,
Right.
And I really did like Chris Helmsworth.
Oh, he was good.
As Dementis. I thought he was great. I loved his performance.
I heard, he was playing it stupid, or he's not that bright. He's kind of a big, goofy. He's a frat boy. He's essentially a frat boy
Yeah, I don't know.
who had a lot of power. I mean,
Oh, really? You're saying he wanted to play him kind of like...
I don't know how he was. I don't know whether he was supposed to be comic relief or you're supposed to feel something for him.
Yeah.
Because he was treating her well. He treated her well.
I mean, other than
killing his mother
after
and
killing his
kidnapping her
mom,
and getting him back. I mean, he didn't let her go to a Morton Joe as a bride.
Right.
He took her from that. So he's like, okay. But again, he killed the mother. So she's the whole thing.
Yeah,
is
it's like you're not getting, no matter how nice you are, usually you kill somebody's parents. One of their parents. You're not coming back.
I did
from
like
that.
the scene where their final scene.
Oh,
I did like that. I liked the way he played that.
Yeah.
Going out thing.
Yeah, me too.
I
did. Like I said, it's a strange movie because I feel like the movie. You point to any one scene in this film, and I'll be like, "Yeah, that was good. That was good. I like that. That was awesome. That was amazing. It was really cool, really neat." But it's somehow or another, it's less than the sum of its parts. And I think
that's only because of the first movie.
Well, yeah, but it's
if
like
you didn't have that movie, this would be.
You're right. This would be. I'd be tearing my hair out. It's so
they'd be
good.
making a Chrome version of this.
I know.
It would be.
They are.
They are.
Yeah, I saw
well, they should. I mean, it's
going to show up on like streaming or something.
Yeah.
Very soon.
It
that there's
should.
going to be like a black and chrome version of this one too.
I just can't help. What is the point of having this film, especially without Max in it? And that had to have been why they put that Pretorius. Is that his name? Pretorius Jack in there?
Yeah, Praetorian Jack.
Praetorian Jack.
Yeah.
That had to be why they put him in.
Yeah.
He was the Mad Max surrogate.
Of course, yeah.
He was Road Warrior.
Yeah. He was
Driving the big truck, getting through and doing the thing. And that scene in Bullet Town or Bullet final scene.
Oh yeah, when he's driving through in the rig and the war rig.
That was insane.
That was awesome.
I don't know how they pull that shit off.
I
don't know how they do it. That's the other thing watching these films. How the frick do they do that?
Well, it's funny because some of these the difference is also in this one. I'm pretty sure in some of this particular one, there was a lot more computer generated stuff.
Okay, it's hard to tell on here.
Sometimes it is, but like some of the parts, I was just like,
guys flipping around when guys are getting tossed around.
And also, but just like when he runs into that giant smokestack thing.
Yeah,
and obviously that's not real.
Right.
And then I just felt like felt like there were more things that they did this time around, because even like when I looked back at even Fury Road, I will say when I was sitting in the theater watching it, I remember when they drove into the sandstorm not being a happy person, because like it was a lot of computer generated stuff because you can't do that any other way.
Right.
Even though a lot of the stunts they may have been doing in there were real and done.
Yeah, but the sand isn't.
The sand isn't there. And so I felt like there was more of that in this one. Either way, but once again, it's a hard movie for me to like find fault with, other than it's kind of, I honestly, if you ask me, I really wish George Miller would have spent his time and his effort making something else. Like another Mad Max-ish movie.
Yeah, you wonder why he
but
must
not
have felt he had to have feel strongly about that character.
Well, I mean,
and the whole thing with the grease on the head. I mean, because Charlize was okay, so you have to put that in there.
But I mean, I get it. Like he writes Fury Road, obviously, at some point, and they write Fury Road, and then they decide, well, you know, this really is a story about Furiosa more than it is about Max.
Yeah.
And some people had a problem with that. They complained it's not really a Mad Max story. So then, like, he obviously was like, well, I want to talk more about her. You know, I would have much rather seen, like, what happens after Fury Road. You know, go ahead, write Max out of the story. He was leaving anyway. Literally, he's leaving at the end. And she's standing there, and they're all chanting her name. And, you know, maybe a movie about a woman trying to create a new society isn't as exciting as some people would want it to
wasn't
be.
that the Thunderdome? That was what Tina Turner did.
Tina Turner already did that.
Right.
She already created a new society.
Right. So why would they have to
Exactly.
do that again? Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
Why even make this film?
He
did Babe and Babe in the City, right? He did those two. So he's not afraid to take a character he loves and do more films about.
Do more films.
But Mad Max, I mean, Max is a great character. I would want to see more of Tom Hardy as Mad Max. That's what I would want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But I think I liked Furiosa a lot in the first film.
I did too.
I don't need to see her. Like, I know what her origin is. You told me already. And a huge part of the film, Fury Road, was directly involved with that, you know? A huge part of it was, you know? I much would have rather seen, and some people would say, oh, well, this is just another story of Mad Max out there helping out some other people in the wasteland that need, you know, an unstoppable...
Okay,
so, sure.
Yeah.
I can do more of that.
I'm in.
You know?
Not that I would like to see Charlize continue her
Well, that's what I'm saying.
thing. I would have no problem with that.
I would love to see her as the, you know, Queen of the Citadel, you know, that kind of thing. I think that would be a really cool... I would have been far more interested in that story than I was in the story that they told in Furiosa. Even though, once again, I really liked the movie. Like, I liked it.
I want to say that too. I mean, I was waffling through the whole thing.
Yeah, it was...
And there was some set pieces that I was like, okay. But, you know, they're set pieces.
Yeah.
They could have been done in the other film too.
Sure.
But he felt the need to tell this story as well, which I get, you know, this guy can do whatever he wants, frankly. And like I said, when the movie first opens up, I was like, holy shit. Okay, he's doing it again.
Yeah.
But again, like I said earlier, he's doing it again. It's not much different than what he did in the other one.
Sure. Well, it's like...
Now, this one was more gross, more visceral. There's a lot of maggot scenes and arms hanging. There was stuff in this one that definitely wasn't in the other one.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing about the maggots is, though, and I've always said this, you know, it's maggot therapy, man. Maggots only eat dead flesh.
Okay, that's awesome.
So, like, there was like a resurgence of, like, in like modern times, like back in the 90s, where they were using maggots.
Right. If you're going to do that, put me to sleep while you're doing it. I don't want to look at my arm and see maggots crawling all over my arm.
Well, it's a really good, effective way to
Now, that old hag that's in there that was doing the maggots, is that the old hag that's in Fury Road?
Oh, God, I don't even
guarding
know.
the one with the shotgun, you know? Now, I know that's not a Morton Joe, the actor.
Right.
Because he
passed away.
He
passed away.
Yeah.
And so this guy was definitely...
But both sons were still in there.
So here's the other thing.
And that was that was an interesting... They had a
Did I miss it? Which I think if I didn't, and I don't think I did, because like I said, I rewatched it the second time. I think it's kind of cool. I kept waiting for the son who's not in Fury Road, not the gigantic bald guy, but the other guy with the messed up face, more messed up face.
Well, the gigantic bald guy was going after her. He was
Right,
hitting
yeah,
on her.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
No,
where
that
she
was-
pulled
yeah.
that move. That's where the grease first came.
Yeah.
She touched the pipe and put the grease on her head. And
Exactly.
She was gone.
Yeah. But he has a brother who
yeah.
does a lot more talking
Yeah.
in the movie. We never see him get it. Like, we never see him get killed, I don't think.
I don't remember.
And because as I was watching a movie halfway through the movie, I was just like, well, I'm just waiting for this guy to get axed because he's not in Fury Road, which means he's going to get axed. But he didn't get axed, which I think is great, which means he probably just bought it somewhere else along the way.
I have no idea.
You know? Because, like, there was obviously a period of time for where she comes back to the Citadel and then when she leaves with the brides, right?
Yeah. Yeah, what's she doing that whole time?
She's just building up her reputation, building up her trust until she can make her move, you know?
So she was never one of the brides.
No.
Okay,
she
see,
was
that's
never,
what I thought in Mad Max Fury Road
Right.
that she was one of those brides.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, she was not. Turns
she was-
out this one, no, she was just a protector,
Yes.
and she made it back to the Citadel after all the stuff that she had been through, and she planted what's his name?
Yeah.
in the place.
She planted him in as a,
That's like our Indian movie that we watched a while back, where the person was the tree. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That weird. That was one of the better ones. That
Yeah,
horror
yeah,
movie
yeah.
with the bread or whatever they put down.
oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the little,
Yeah,
was that Toombad or? was that
Too Mud.
Yeah, that was a good one. That
Indian
was one of my
Cinemaniacs,
favorites.
also on the channel. Although
good.
I think he's leaving. He's moving. He's gonna get his own make his own YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Good luck with that. I hope I do. I wish him luck.
Yeah.
He's going to be. I think slowly I'm going to get him back on the show.
Oh, really?
I'm going to bring him back to teach Maria why Casablanca is such a classic. She still does.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I watched that. I watched that one too, and I was like, I could tell you guys.
She is so like doesn't care. I mean, I love it. That's what I love about her.
Hey.
She's just. But she'll watch it and
Yeah.
she'll appreciate it. And like you saw, we watched Showgirls together. That was a trip.
I haven't has that episode dropped?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say.
I'm in the middle of editing that one.
Okay.
Because that's the one I videotaped her watching it.
Oh, gosh.
Because she had some major reactions.
I bet. That movie is both ridiculous and hard to watch. In
It's
spots.
a strange, and I had to warn her about, the scene with the rock star and like it is such a weird, anyway, that's in a future episode, Showgirls. Definitely Maria never watched that one. And again, I keep saying, I don't know how that ended up on the wheel. That thing just popped up. It's weird.
Just magically got there.
So yeah, there was so many elements in this film that made me go, okay, George Miller can do whatever he wants.
Sure.
He's earned that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I understand why it didn't do as well in the movie theater, though, in the film, because we've all seen it.
Yeah.
And there's no Max in there.
Yeah.
There's a Max, but he's not in there.
Right. I mean, let me put it this way. I love Mad Max. I think we've made that clear. But I didn't even get, and it just, there was a number of compounding factors, but I didn't see this one in the theater.
No, we tried to.
We
did try to.
We tried to. We
couldn't
just
get over
never
that.
make it happen. But I'll say this. It's like I wouldn't have gone back to see it in the theater. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think Mad Max Fury Road was good enough that if I had had time, I would have seen it in the theater more than once.
Yeah, if they do,
I don't do that very often
If
anymore.
it comes back around, I would see that again in the movie theater.
Oh yeah.
Not
I
this
almost,
one.
I almost went to see the Black and Chrome when it was in the theater.
Oh, really?
Well, it was at the AFI down in Silver Spring. So and that was a few months later. But I was like, maybe I should make the time to go check that one out. But once again, I just didn't get enough time.
I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Especially that place has a nice their big theater.
Yeah,
it's big.
That middle one. Yeah,
it's.
I have the both Chrome and on
Nice.
Blu-ray. Yeah, but I don't know if this one I would go back.
Yeah, it's like I said before. I mean, my biggest thing about it is it did feel to a certain extent like, there was almost nothing in the story other than the Dementis character, the Praetorian Jack, and I know I'm listing off a bunch of things now, how she lost her arm, but all in all, it was like, I get it. She got taken from the green place. She works her way up through Immortan Joe's people. She becomes one of his warlords. She gets a ton of... She earns a level of trust to ride the war rig, which we find out in Fury Road is like the highest honor you can have, to drive the war rig. And at least in their weird little cult world. And
but this
she
film,
uses
this
that
film
to
ends with
to
her.
take those ladies out.
This film ends with her taking the ladies out.
Yeah.
So there was all that time. So they just fast forwarded.
Yeah, I think what they did was they just fast forwarded and kind of show you what was going on there.
I mean, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing those missing years.
Yeah.
With Charlize Theron doing
Sure.
why she became what she became to get them out of there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'd be down for that one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to throw this out here. I still would rather see after Fury Road, you know? And, you know, I would rather see that.
Well,
personally.
Well, as long as Mad Max is in there. I want to see Mad Max again.
Yeah, me
I want
too.
to see Max again.
But, I mean, I guess my thing is with her, and if you were going to say, hey, we're going to make a movie, but there isn't going to be any Max, it's only going to be Furiosa. I mean, I'd much rather see what happens after Mad Max than how she became Furiosa.
Yeah.
Even though that was her name from
Yeah,
birth.
but again, you would think that those two were going to team up.
Yeah, and I mean, that might be kind of a cool thing to see them team up.
And I think that's what the Jack character and...
Yeah.
I mean, and it's that whole idea where she's a mute, and in Fury Road, Max barely said anything.
He barely says anything, yeah.
And maybe now you're going, oh, that's why her character in Fury Road understood his character, and that's why she gave him all the breaks she gave him, and she saves him with her arm. I mean,
yeah.
For me, I just want to know when the arm was going to go. I really do. I'm like, okay, when am I going to see that scene?
Yeah, exactly.
And how's it going to happen?
Exactly. And she cuts it off to escape,
Well, the tire ripped it up, and then she cut it off to escape.
Well, yeah. I mean,
she hung her arm out, and that tire got it down to the bone to the point where she could
but I mean,
pull it off.
Yeah. Because she had also, because it's also true, it's also a nice touch there. That's where her map of the stars got torn off because she had it on that arm.
Yeah.
So it's like when there's scenes in Fury Road where she's like literally obviously trying to think back.
Yeah.
Trying to think, well,
interesting.
Am I too far? Have I gone too far?
Here's the thing about this. Okay.
I know you passed
They
through
have
it.
all this technology to cars and bullets and all the flying and no cameras. No,
what do you mean no cameras?
No, like I didn't. There's the only technology that works is stuff that makes cars work, gasoline.
Oh yeah, well I mean,
what's the? You're talking about she's trying to remember. Just take a freaking picture of that, but you can't. There's no
cameras. There's no film. There's no digital.
Okay, but there's everything else.
There are no SIM cards.
Right, but I guarantee one of those little war boys or somebody figured something out. There's all these scientists and
I know it does.
Was like again, this movie was grosser. Like when that doctor pulls the baby out. Your baby's gone or whatever, and she still wants to stay, and this was.
Yeah, it was
visceral.
Yeah, there was definitely more, and it's not gore like people getting their heads ripped off like horror movie gore, but it was just goo. That's a good way to put it. It was more goo.
It was wet.
Yeah.
So just like Showgirls. Showgirls just wet too. That pool scene.
Jesus Christ. There are times when I think about that pool scene, all I can do is like I love Kyle MacLachlan, I love David Lynch.
He talks about that scene.
And it's just like one of those things where he was like, basically Firewalk with Me crashed and burned. It totally flopped at the theater. Like it totally flopped. And anyway, and so his career was like not in a great place. So somebody comes to you, they say, "Hey, it's Paul Verhoeven, it's Joe Esterhaus. You're going to play a total dick." And he's like, "Well, I have never done that before." And so he goes, "Okay, It's funny because actually this week I rewatched Blue Velvet. So fucking good.
I know.
It's so troubling.
It's
just troubling. It's so good. Anyway,
I can't wait to talk to Maria about Showgirls because I'm trying to think when she was watching there was just scenes that she was just like, I know what it is. Everybody's defending Elizabeth Berkley
Oh yeah.
because the director took responsibility and said,
No, she was terrible.
she's
bad.
Like the way she eats her ham. You don't direct somebody to chow a cheeseburger or whatever she was doing like that. But like, what's the? I would love to. What's the thought process? What is she doing?
She was. Don't get me wrong. She is a better actress than she was in that film, but she's not a great actress.
Well, she was in.
You know what she was in?
Bit part any given
Sunday. Yeah.
She was good.
She was good in that.
It was small. She played.
She plays the hooker that sleeps.
We call him sex worker.
Oh, I'm sorry. She plays
2024 sex worker.
You're right. It's like old 20th century thinking there.
Oh my God, you're so old and white. It's unbelievable.
She plays the sex worker
Right.
who sleeps with old ass Al Pacino.
No, but she that had been. She was terrible.
Yeah, and
I don't know if that's directing terrible or just terrible.
It's yeah.
All right, so Furiosa.
All right.
Okay. Mad Max Fury Road lives on this Mount Everest of like the
It's
best.
just so good.
Where do you put this one?
Oh my God.
Mount Everest is 29,000 feet, right?
Right.
Okay, where is this one?
This one?
Yeah.
Oh man, maybe like 15,000.
15.
Because like I said,
If Mad Max weren't here,
it
Fury
would,
Road,
it would blow my mind away. My mind would have. I would have.
That's the thing that
it would
is
have
just,
blown my head in
George
half.
Miller must have known that though when he made it, because Fury Road had such accolades.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you top that? You can't top that.
Well, I think
so. What's the purpose?
Well, I mean, I think this is what I'm going to say. And obviously I have never even read an interview with George Miller about this film. I think he really truly fell in love with the character of Furiosa. I think he loves her as a character. I think that's why she's the main character in Fury Road, right? Even though Mad Max is there. I think he wanted to tell more stories of her, and he wanted to tell more stories about that world. I think a lot of people, old co-host Drew, I know Drew loved.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
The
greatest film.
He loves this film like nobody else.
Fury Road.
Fury Road.
Yeah.
And I know that he would go. I remember him saying even he wanted to know more about Bullet Town and the gas farm, or the gas farm in the Bullet Town, whatever. He wants to know more about that world. I was okay with what they gave me in Fury Road, but I could see how you love that character. You love this kind of smaller world that you've created, and you want to get into it a little bit. I wish they had done that with a sequel, not a prequel. That's my thing.
Because I'm.
But then again, I've never really written a great movie, or even a bad one.
I'm in the business. I'm not close to what these people are, right, from a creative standpoint. But when you create something that you feel is at the top of your game, to sit there and go, I have to top this, is impossible.
Yeah.
And that was the zenith. Like I said, it's Mount Everest.
Yeah.
How
pretty
can you
good.
can't climb any higher unless you die? And he tried it, and I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
But again, it's this funny thing. If neither of these films were here, if it were just Mad Max Fury Road, we'd be fine.
Yep.
If Fury Road weren't here, Furiosa would be what Fury Road is.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but it's hard. It's hard to say because it's already there. It's already in my head.
I know.
You know
That's
what I mean?
the problem. And I guess if Furiosa came out and there was no Mad Max in there, and it was just that little shot we saw him up in the cliff, people would be pissed.
Oh yeah.
He was like, "Come on, what's the story here?" So he did this one, and he goes, "Okay, I got that out of the way." Max, the character, I love the character. Everybody knows I love the character. You all love the character. Now I want to tell my story.
Right.
But he still threw Max in there, which is
just
interesting.
a touch. Yeah.
He still threw it in there.
Yeah.
I guess, God bless him.
Hey, you know what?
And he's what, 80? How old is this dude? 80-something years old, George Miller?
George Miller's got to be old.
Oh, my God.
He's got to be real old.
I mean, that's what I mean. I can't. So, all right. So, good film. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's like a really, like I said, I think the way I'm going to leave it is, it's a very good movie, but somehow or another, it's less than the sum of its parts in my mind.
Well,
in the sense that
only because it had the other film.
right, but the other film exists.
I know.
Like, it's like it's there. It's not
such
like
a weird thing.
It's
And it's not even the other 3 films, the Mad Max films. It's the one he built after years and years. He built this perfect thing.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, I'm going to try it again.
Right.
And yeah.
But like I said, I think more than anything, my criticism is that it is a prequel, and so much of Fury Road had to deal with Furiosa and her past.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, it's like, I've seen this part of the movie before, And so even though there was a lot of great stuff and a lot of great performances and amazing action sequences.
What I mean. He could have, it could have been a new character doing the same things because to me, it's about the spectacle of the scenes.
Yeah.
It's not about that she was doing it. I just, those things floating around, the helicopters and the balloons and those balloon things they're floating on, and of course they're all dying because you're dead meat up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way you're going to get out of that.
Exactly.
Couldn't you create new characters doing the same thing? You could, but I guess you're right. He fell in love with that character,
and he wanted more of that world.
And he deserves. He can do whatever he wants.
Of course he can.
It's
George Miller.
Right.
We'll let him do whatever he wants.
All right. There you go.
All right.
Good job. Okay. So, all right.
Anyway.
Here we go.
Hit
10
it up.
questions. We might hit one we already did, and we'll spin again.
All right.
Hang on. It's only 10 questions. Oh.
Have I ever theater jumped?
Have you ever theater jumped?
Like,
you go to a movie, you get out of the movie, you go to another movie.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, totally. Like, there was a period of time where I was, and I'm not proud of it, but like, because I know it's not great for the movie industry or anything, but there was a time where I was actually living in Southern California, and this was the late 90s. So out there, they had the 20 screen theaters, the 25 screen space arcs, these monsters, right?
Huge.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Back here on the East Coast, we had 10, 12, even 14.
We had big ones. We had 20s. There were some 20s. There's no,
But I remember one day, because I had a Tuesday off and nobody was around. So literally, I went to see 3 different films. Like,
I paid for one.
I paid for one. Because the thing was, I went to this place like down in Irvine or something.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it had 20 screens. But because it was like Tuesday afternoon, like there was one usher. So you walk through, you gave the guy, and they're so huge. It was like I walked another 100 feet before I got to the concession stand. And another 100 feet beyond that was the actual place where you went to the movies. And they made somewhat of a mistake of putting the movie times on every single theater.
Nice.
So it was like I got out of Starship Troopers and then went to go see, a Mike Figgis movie.
But you didn't drop in the middle of it. You saw it from the beginning?
Oh, yeah. I did a triple feature, man. And then I went to go see, what was that? It was a terrible film. It was with Dustin Hoffman and John Travolta, like Mad City.
Oh, with the plane crash? Something plane crash?
No, I think it was something about a hostage situation, and somebody was like a...
Oh, yeah.
Somebody was like
plane crash, no?
I think Dustin Hoffman was he was like a news reporter.
Yeah.
And he was in there, and he kept trying to he wanted it to be his story.
Yeah.
And so he kept trying to
1997.
keep it going. Yeah, that was the year. Uh-huh.
Inverly takes a group of children hostage in a museum. A distraught man. So Travolta was a distraught man, I guess.
Yeah, and so basically, somehow or another, Hoffman plays either a local reporter or a local anchor, and the national guy's trying to steal the coverage from him. So he's literally telling Travolta he's giving him shitty advice to keep the story going.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember. I don't remember.
What was the third film? Oh, the Figgis film was the second film.
Figgis film. That was the movie, funny enough, with Kyle MacLachlan, speaking of showgirls. And it was Kyle MacLachlan, Wesley Snipes, Ming-Na Wen, and Natasha Kinski. I think it was Natasha Kinski. And it was basically what happens is Snipes, and I think, was it Natasha Kinski? They have an affair, and then they go back to their families. And then it's so it's all this, a lot of drama about their affair and everything and how they feel about each other. And then in the final scene, like you see all four of the couples together, right? And then it turns out that their spouses, they met somehow, and then they also had an affair.
What?
Yeah, it's a Mike Figgis movie from probably 1997 if it was in the theater.
Well, if you're the same day, it has to be.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
How do
yeah.
you spell his name? Mike. Oh, there it is.
Figg.
Yeah.
It's two G's.
Oh, so 95 he did Directing Las Vegas. Let's see.
Yeah.
97, that's when you saw.
Pretty sure.
Let's see. Let's go. Ooh, Squeal all the way down. Oof, look at
It's
this.
not Your Friends and Neighbors.
1997.
That was Neil LaBute.
Okay. One Night Stand.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
gotta
God,
be.
I totally had them wrong. I think McLaughlin's
Wesley Snipes has a one night
Yeah.
stand with Natasha Kinski.
Hey, look at me.
He returns to his wife in the career, but as a fag. Okay.
Yeah. So you get to the end, like somehow or another they become friends and they meet or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end, and then it turns out that McLaughlin and Snipes' wife, the aggrieved couple,
Yeah.
the aggrieved one, they were having
They already
they start.
having
I don't think they were already having one. That they started one, and then what happens is like it cuts to like a year later, and they have both split up with each other, but have married the other one.
I can't believe. Okay,
So
so I
it's
did
sick-
this
it's kinda
in
dumb.
Randolph, Massachusetts. I don't know how many years ago. I can't believe you can remember the 3 films you saw. That's amazing.
I mean, I've
could
done it before,
Did you
too.
journal this, or you just know it?
I just remember it because it was just one of those days where it was like, you had to understand. I was when I was living in Southern California, it was like I was
Were
working.
you in Blockbuster?
No, actually, I was working at like a clothing store, and there was a period there where like they cut my hours, so like I had time but no
Yeah,
money.
but I don't remember. 1997, and
Yeah.
you haven't written this shit down.
No,
What? No, that thing went off. I don't know why. I did it once in Randolph, Massachusetts. My wife or girlfriend and I decided to do that. So I did that once. I forget. Then I tried to do it here in Bethesda, and they had security guards who were stopping people from doing exactly what we're talking
really?
about. Oh, yeah.
Really?
It was a big problem.
Oh,
At the
okay.
time, Bethesda had it was a big movie theater, multi thing.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of teenagers
Gotcha.
would go in there.
And
And
they
there
would
were guys waiting outside for whatever
making
that's
sure
called.
that you went to the
Go to the movie and
you
they
went to
see
the
you
exit.
coming out. Yeah. Get out of here. So
Yeah, I mean, I can believe that. Like it, like I said, I mean, this was like I said, this was like a Tuesday afternoon. There was nobody there.
Yeah.
They had one usher, and
Jesus Christ.
but I will say this, like, and the funny thing is, I don't think they cared because like after every movie, I went to at least go get a soda and some more candy or popcorn.
They would, but how would
That's-
they know?
They wouldn't. I don't even
Yeah.
think it was the same people behind the
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
concession stand.
By the way, we don't recommend doing this.
No,
Not that
it's
anybody goes to
terrible.
the movies anymore.
But it's
which
no,
is
it's
too bad.
absolutely
I
terrible.
used to like going to drive-ins. Like I went to Arizona one time, and they had 6 drive-in, like 6 screens.
wow.
And I'm watching one over here, and you could turn around and look at that one. You couldn't hear anything,
Yeah.
but you see in the film. It was wild.
Really?
Yeah, it was wild.
That is nutty.
Yeah, wild.
That's
we just
crazy.
went to Benji's the other night. That's what we saw.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, because the
Great,
funny,
location.
because I have seen multi-screen. There are still a few multi-screen drive-ins out there.
Yeah.
And the last one that I saw, it's been a while now, but like it's been this century, so maybe in the last 20 years. But it was a thing where it was not. It was like the way they had set it up was. It was like you would screen number 1 was to the left, screen number 2 was to the right, and screen number 3. But it was literally they had planted massive, like really huge pine trees in between them. Yeah, so you couldn't.
No.
Not that you'd really want to.
Well, if
Well, because the difference is now though is it's all on the
radio,
It's all on the radio.
you could tune in to
you
see
could
what's
just tune
you could
into
the
like
other one.
yeah at
Well, yeah, I guess
1401
in
or whatever.
Arizona, everything's flat. There's no pine trees. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Furiosa.
Yep.
Glad he made it. Why he made it? Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
He
I mean,
did it.
and you
He
know what?
deserves, He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those ones now. It's on like HBO Max. I'll definitely check it out again, and maybe I'll see something I missed the first time.
Maybe. Anyway.
Right.
All right. Listen.
That's all.
Come back again to the lounge.
Couldn't keep me away, man.
All right.